Hey guys, what's up, dudes? It's YouTube Vids coming at you guys with NHL 18, guys. So it's been a while since we've done any hockey sims. So now, I'm proud to announce that we'll finally get back into doing hockey sims again. Now that the NFL season is starting to wrap up, guys, with the playoff games, we'll be doing Fortunately, we'll be doing fewer of those over the course of the next couple of weeks as we whittle that down to the final two teams. But in the meantime, since we'll be doing fewer NFL sims because of the playoffs, that'll allow us to jump into doing some simulations for the NHL. So what I've done is I've gone in and I've taken a team. I went into the franchise mode, chose the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't believe that the game favors you just because of what team you are. But I went through, I selected the Blue Jackets. I went in on all-star mode, 20-minute periods, and just basically simulated through the end of the season. During the course of the season, I did not choose to make any roster adjustments or even like talk to team members and all that kind of weird stuff they let you do in franchise mode. I declined everything. So I didn't do anything special for this team. I didn't play any games on behalf of the team or anything like that. Which brings us now to the final standing. So regardless of who won, we're going to be doing the Stanley Cup playoff simulation regardless. But so first, let's go take a look at the divisions, and then we will I will show the playoff bracket that we're going to be using as we get into these actual simulations. So first off, let's take a look here at the Pacific Division. So Pacific Division, we have the Kings, the Los Angeles Kings, winning the division with 107 points. I think we'll have to look at this, but I think it's actually the highest number of points across the entire league. So they went 53-28, 107 points, and then you follow that up with the Sharks with 105, and then a huge drop off from there with the Flames and the Ducks. In this division, also clinching playoff spots. So the Kings did clinch the conference overall, so they in theory would have home field advantage throughout if they can sustain some wins. Let's jump into the Central Division. So Central Division, you've got the Minnesota Wild coming in at first place, and they clinched the division title. Next you have the Blackhawks with 91 points, the Jets with 91 points, and the Dallas Stars, guys, making the playoffs with 90 points. Eliminated from the playoffs, look at this, guys, the Predators, the Blues, and the Avalanche. The Avalanche only with a mere 29 wins on the season. Let's jump back to the Pacific. So actually, just to highlight who's not in the playoffs here. Actually, so who did make the playoffs? The Canucks, the Oilers, the Coyotes, and the Vegas Golden Knights, the new expansion team, guys. So they missed the playoffs. They only had 33 wins by the end of the season. Let's jump now to the Atlantic Division, guys. In the Atlantic, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning, which seems very realistic. Tampa Bay is going strong right now. So you have the Lightning with 107 points. So actually they tied with the Kings in terms of points. So 107 points there for them. The Canadiens with 103 points. Then you have the Panthers with 89. So those three teams from the Atlantic moving on. You have the Tampa Bay Lightning clinching the division title. Eliminated from the playoffs, you have the Red Wings, the Sabres. The Sabres aren't in last, so that's actually good to see. You have the Sabres, the Bruins, the Maple Leafs, and then the Senators. The Senators taking last place in that division this season. And again, this is all simulation, so take it with a grain of salt. Then you have the Metropolitan Division. You have in first place in the Metropolitan Division the Carolina Hurricanes, like out of nowhere. Actually, they have the most points, 110 points. So they are the winningest team in the NHL according to this simulation by the end of the season. So you have the Carolina Hurricanes with 110 points, 51 wins, and 8 overtime losses. Followed by the Columbus Blue Jackets with 104 points, which would give them back-to-back seasons with 100-plus points. So last year, Columbus was the first time in their team history that they had 100 points going into the playoffs. So This means that they would be hitting 100 points again, and so consecutive years. Then you have the Capitals, the Penguins, and the Rangers. So just similar to last year, again, the Metropolitan Division also had, I think we had 5 teams in that division advance last year as well. So that is the way it shook up as a result of the simulation. Now, again, as far as the simulation goes, I took whatever teams. I believe they update the teams. You always have the updated rosters, so whatever rosters exist as of today, January 7th, 2018, and again, chose to be a GM, or it did the franchise mode and just simulated through that way. And again, didn't play any games. This was on all-star difficulty, 20-minute periods. So we're going to bounce back out of here, out of the team stats for a second, and we're going to jump on over to the playoff bracket. So here's the playoffs, Western. Actually, no, that's not what I wanted to see. Yeah, here we go, playoff tree. There we go. So here's the playoff tree, guys. So you have in the first round, you have the Blackhawks against the Jets. Then you have the Wild against the Ducks, the Sharks and the Flames, the Kings and the Stars on the Western. On the Eastern side, you have the Blue Jackets going up against the Capitals in round 1. That's going to be a tough battle there. Then the Panthers and the Hurricanes, and the Rangers. Then you have Chicago and the not Chicago. I always see that C and I get confused. And then the Panthers, Florida Panthers. Then you have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Pittsburgh Penguins going at one another. So that should be an interesting matchup there. And then it's the Canadians. I always forget their name. Sorry, the Montreal Canadiens. I always see that C and I always think the Cubs. So Canadians going up against the Panthers in that matchup there. So this is what this is how the matchups shake out for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So our simulation is going to be taking place starting here, guys. So there's going to be a lot of games that we have to get through. And as most of you know, for NHL games, we do normally simulate with shorter periods. So we don't normally do full periods. Now, maybe once we get to the finals, we can do full periods, because then that way we're just doing a best of 7. But in this case, we're doing multiple best of 7. So for the interest of time, we're most likely going to cut down the games to maybe half of what they normally are, and go with that. So I'm excited, guys, to see this. Please feel free to post your comments on the videos about, boo, my team didn't make it, or yay, my team made it, or complain about the standings overall. I don't care. That's fine. I'm sure everyone's going to have their opinion about this bracket ultimately. But either way, guys, this is where we're going to start, and we're going to continue from this point forward into simulations for the Stanley Cup Finals, trying to our best effort to predict the winner of the Stanley Cup in 2018. So, love you guys very much, dudes. I appreciate your support very much, and I look forward to going through these sims and seeing you guys and interacting with you guys throughout the process. Take care, guys.